Hey Palworld fans, it's Justin with Palworld Tips, and today I wanted to take some time to go over my top 5 tips for late and endgame. Everything I'm going to cover today will greatly increase your efficiency and speed, so without further ado, let's get on with the video. The first thing I wanted to show you today is this incredible utility pal, Gale Claw. This thing replaces your glider with a much better and faster version, and can travel a much greater distance than the glider ever could. As you can see, I can quickly move around from point A to point B in my base without ever mounting or using the sprint key. I always have one of these in my party, and I recommend you always have one as well. I'm just going to do a quick comparison of how far you can go with the glider and then how far you can go with the Gale Claw. So as you can see with the glider, I can get to about here. It's very slow, and I kind of just drop down. And just so you know, I'm not using the top glider. I am just using the mega glider here. But even the top glider, you won't get much more distance than that. Now if I go back and pick up my Gale Claw pal here, you'll see that one jump will get me all the way to the other side of my base here like this. So if you need to get around your base quickly, this is going to be your number one pal. Gale Claw is not only good for moving around your base, but it's also incredibly useful in combat. I'm going to go get into a fight here and show you exactly what I mean. I'm just going to aggro this Jet Dragon and wait for it to use an attack on me. That's a bad example. You're mostly looking to dodge projectile attacks with this. So he's going to start a projectile, and as you can see, I'm just going to use the Gale Claw and easily dodge out of the way of that. Wait for him to use another attack, and I'll go again. Same thing with the breath. Very easy. It's also important to note that while you're in the Gale Claw animation, you can fire your gun and reload. Keep in mind this won't work if you start a reload and then enter the Gale Claw animation. It's going to cancel your reload. A little bit of practice, and this is a very useful combat tool. And I'm just going to show you that one more time. Easily dodged out of it. The last thing to note about Gale Claw is that this ability here, which is what allows you to use him as a glider, is not affected by any of his passive skills or any of his stats. The only thing it is affected by is this skill level, right? So this is done by condensing the PAL, and once you get it to 4 stars, it'll be maxed out. Basically, the difference is we're going to see a slight speed increase at each level and a slight decrease to the amount of stamina used while holding it. This means that you'll be able to go a little faster and a little longer each time you condense it. I highly recommend breeding this PAL to get it condensed to 4 star as soon as possible. The next thing I want to talk about is mining. So essentially we're going to see that there are two main ways of mining that are far, far better than using the standard refined metal pickaxe. So first I'm going to show you what the refined metal pickaxe looks when you're mining. I'm just going to sit here and start hitting the node, and as you can see it goes very, very slowly. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change to Lily's Spear here. And there's actually a little animation cancel you can do. So normally we'll be stabbing about this speed with the spear. But if we throw in, and this will take a little practice, a crouch in between each one, we're going to reset it. So, and then I'm going to crouch, and it's going to go quickly. Now I've also even written a macro for my mouse to do this for me. So basically I'm just going to hold one button on my mouse, and as you can see I can do this very quickly. Now if I walk up to the node and do this, I'm going to mine that node extremely fast. To start using Lily's Spear, you'll first need to get to level 40 and unlock it via ancient technology in the technology tree. So if I scroll down to level 40, you'll see Lily's Spear is right here. This is going to take palladium fragments, refined ingots, high quality cloth, wood, and ancient civilization parts. I highly recommend crafting this as soon as you have it, because this will speed up your mining drastically. Also to note that the Lily Spear is going to have much, much more durability than the pickaxe, and you're probably going to need to repair this about 1/10 as often as you would need to repair the pickaxe. Now the second way to mine is going to be using a PAL ability. This PAL you probably won't have access to until very late into the game. But once you do, this is going to be your fastest way to mine nodes. So number one, the first thing you're going to need is an Astegon with this ability, Lightning Strike. There are two main ways to get this onto Astegon. Number one is breeding it off of a Lightning type pal who knows the ability. And number two is to find the special fruit off the fruit trees. So once you have this Lightning Strike ability on Astegon, you can get started. Basically, what we're going to do is summon our Astegon here, mount it, and then click the ability Lightning Strike. As you can see, we just one-shot the nodes, and we can walk around and pick up all the ore here. And I am over encumbered, so I'm going to drop that. It's also important to note that we are going to want a high-level Astegon and an Astegon that is completely condensed. I'm just gonna hide my camera here and show you that. So you want a high-level Astegon. The higher level you have, the better this is going to be because it's going to do more damage to the nodes. And you do want him fully condensed so that you can get this level 5 mining here. The next thing I want to talk about is making gold. Gold is going to be very important in this game, especially when you get to the late game, because you're going to want to be buying a lot of the things instead of farming for them. So the first thing I want to talk about here is using nails to make gold. I found this to be very effective. So as you can see, you get 2 nails per 1 ingot. So I'm just going to go ahead and make 50 of these. I'll pull out my Anubis here to make them for me. They make them very quickly. I'll pick them up. I am going to be over encumbered, so I'm just going to drop this. Get to the PAL box here. Travel up to this. If you have captured one of the vendors too, you can just summon them in your base and sell them directly. I unfortunately do not have one. So I'm just going to go over to the vendor over here in the desert. Talk to him and sell, and you'll see for about 50 ingots, we can sell these at 16k gold. So if you can imagine doing a full farming run, I will have a link to our farming run video in the description. You can make a whole lot of money. The second thing here is selling your extra pals from breeding. Currently, I'm breeding for a perfect jet dragon, which means that I'm going to have a lot of garbage jet dragons that I tend to fill up my box afterwards. So I'm just going to go over to the pal vendor here, and I'm going to sell a bunch of my garbage jet dragons. As you can see, they sell for 781 each. And the higher level ones even will sell for more. So that's fine. I'm just going to do my sale there. And quickly you'll get a lot of gold using these two methods. The next thing I want to talk about is farming for pal souls. If you're like me in the late game, you're going to want your pals to be as strong as possible. And in order to do so, you're going to need a whole mess of souls. So you can see if we go into here, it's going to take a lot of souls to max out all the abilities on your pals. Some of these I have maxed out, some I don't. So I'm going to cover the best way to farm the large, the medium, and the small pal souls. Let's start with the small pal soul. Now, these are dropped sometimes around the map, and you can run around and find them, but the fastest way I found is by butchering your pals. So the best pal for this is going to be Nox. Nox has about a 40% chance to drop one when you butcher it. And you can get Nox very easily by breeding together Lamball and Malpaca. These two together, you just have them in one of your breeding farms, and they'll output these Nox constantly, and you can constantly just farm them for the Pal Souls. So I'm going to bring a couple into my party here and see if we can get one. So we're going to want to walk up to it. Oh, I need to have the butcher knife equipped. My apologies. And we're going to want to butcher this. And did my stuff fall through the floor here? Nope. Okay, let's try another one here. Again, we didn't get a Pal Soul drop, but I do promise you that this is going to be the fastest way to get your Pal Souls. Next, let's talk about the medium Pal Soul. So what you're going to want to do is go up to this top right desert biome here, and basically search around this mountainous area for the gold chests. They're each going to have a high likelihood of dropping a medium Pal Soul. So let me get, I did not bring my flying mount with me, so I'm just going to run back and grab that. So basically you're going to want to look up on this mountain here. So let's go ahead and see if we can find gold chest. There's a purple one. Really, we're going to be looking for the gold. Here we go. My apologies, that was actually a red chest. Now, if you're having trouble finding chests, here we go. I do have an add-on that we're going to cover later in the video that will help you do this. So there we go, medium Pal Soul right out of that chest. Now finally, the large Pal Soul. This is going to be farmed right here. So if you know where Frostallion spawns, basically this big snowy plain just south of them. So we're going to go here, put our gold armor on. And then we'll find one. Here's a gold chest right here. And nice, we got a large Pal Soul directly out of that. So basically, you're just going to want to fly around the area, grab all the chests. Another one here. Another large Pal Soul, perfect. And you're going to want to fly all around this area. Up in here. And you're going to want to do a big loop of this entire section. After that's been completely farmed out, it's okay to check the other areas of this mountainous region. The chests aren't spawning as often here, but you can still pick up a few stragglers at the end. The last spot is going to be, I actually have my base built here, but on top of the pillar here, there's going to be 4 chests spawning, and they have I'd say about a 50-50 of being a gold chest and giving you a large Pal Soul out of it. I'm just going to quickly teleport to my base and show you that. So unfortunately the chests aren't spawned right now, but they're going to spawn one here, one there, one over here, and one right here. The last thing I wanted to talk about today is websites and mods that are really going to help optimize things in the late game. So let me just get one of the websites up here. If you're on console, websites are going to be your best options. Here we go. So the first thing we want to talk about here is the breeding calculator for Palpedia. Let's go ahead and say we wanted to breed for Anubis. So we would go down to the parent calculator here, type in Anubis, and it's going to show us every breeding pair that makes Anubis. So this is going to be your best way to find if there's a specific pal you want, such as like Shadowbeak. You know, we can see there's only 2 things that make it here. Another useful thing here is going to be this breed two pals. So let's say we had an Anubis with a desirable trait that we wanted on another pal. We can type Anubis in here for parent A and check this find all possible combinations for parent A. Right, so if we were going to go ahead and breed for a, like I had down here, a Shadowbeak, and we wanted one of the traits on our Anubis, we'll see that Shadowbeak can be made with Kitsun and Astagon. So if we scroll back up, we see that Anubis plus Cognito can make a Kitsun. So that means we can breed a trait from Anubis onto Kitsun, and then from Kitsun onto Astagon. Okay. The second thing I wanted to talk about here is the PAL Builder. This is going to be your best tool for calculating the IVs of your PALs if you are on console. So what we can do then is we'll go in and let's say we had a level 5 Anubis and we knew that it had 900 HP, it had 150 attack, and 170 defense. So we'll know that our IV percentages are 20 to 25% for HP, 2.5 to 6.6% for attack, and we have a 30% IV on defense here. And these are just stats that I just made up off the top of my head. So we're going to want to enter the level here first. We're going to want to enter these stats here. And absolutely, we are going to want to add the passive skills because these can also affect your stats if we had something such as Musclehead, right? So we'll add Musclehead, and then we'll see the IV on this drop because we know that plus 30% attack is coming from Musclehead. The last thing here is an interactive map. So this map is going to be great for finding things like different ore nodes, different collectibles such as fruits, effigies, and eggs, and then fast travel locations, stuff like that. This is really going to be the best way to know where you're going and what you need to find. It's also going to show you the different levels of each of the zones. So I highly recommend, especially if you're on console, to be going to Palpedia here. The next thing I want to talk about is specific to PC, and this is the blitz.gg overlay. So as you can see, I'm going to open my map here, and in the top left and bottom left, we're going to see a few little boxes that pop up over our map. So the bottom left one here, we can turn on things like effigies. It's going to show us where all the effigies are here on the map. We can show fast travel locations, and this will overlay right on your in-game map to make it extremely easy. This is also good for finding things like treasures, although this will only scan a small area around you. But we can find all of the treasure boxes. In the last tip, I talked about farming for PAL souls out of the legendary boxes, or should I say the gold boxes. This is going to be a very, very quick way to find these all around you. We can do the same thing for eggs, stone, ore, and palladium nodes. Now, up in the top left here, this is going to be how we find where different pals spawn. So let's say we wanted to find Anubis, although that may be a bad example since it's only a single spawn in the world here. Let's try something a little easier, such as Liftmonk, right? It's going to show us all the places where Liftmonk can spawn. To get the Blitz app, we're just going to want to open up our browser here again. And we're going to want to go to blitz.gg and then download Blitz here. As soon as we download this and relaunch the game, the overlay should be available. The last thing I want to talk about is a mod for PC. This is going to be a mod that's going to be able to tell you in-game IVs for any of your pals. This is extremely powerful if you are trying to breed for IVs. So I'm just going to go in and show you. I have a lamb ball here. I have the mod enabled right now, so we're going to be able to go and see the IVs in the right-hand little window here. So if you look next to HP, you may have to look very closely because the color is kind of bad for it. It is a work in progress, but we can see it has an 83 HP IV, and the same for attack and defense. So its attack stat is 165, and this means that it has a 70% IV in the attack on the right. Same for defense. We can see the stat is 93. And 65 is the IV. Now, installing this app is going to be a little more complicated than the Blitz app, but I'm going to walk you through it here. So number one, we'll bring our browser back up. We want to go to this website, Nexus Mods for Palworld, and I will have a link to this in the description. So once we're here, you're going to want to go to the manual download. This may require you to make an account. I do already have one. And the first thing we want to do is we're going to see additional files are required. So we do want this UE4SS, so we're going to want to open that up, and it's going to bring us to this page here. For this part, we want to scroll down. We don't need to worry about any of this. Just scroll down, and you want to get this UE4SS version 3.0.0.zip. Once we have that downloaded, we can go back down here and click the download button. It's going to bring us to this, and we will go, I only have a free type account here, I don't have premium, so just hit the slow download, and you'll get the this one here, palivs.zip as well. Once you have these two, we're going to want to go into our Steam app. Let me hide this here. Let's go into Steam. And we're going to right click on our game. We will want to make sure the game is not running while we're doing this. So make sure you hit stop on your game first and go into properties. Sorry, that's not showing up. There we go. Install files and then hit browse. And this is going to bring up your Palworld data folder. And I'm going to bring that up right here. So that is going to bring you into this folder here, the Palworld folder. So we want to drill down and go into Pal, Binaries, Win64. Once we're here, we want to just completely extract the UE4SS.zip file. And that should bring in this mods folder as well as a couple of these UE4SS files. To stop the game from crashing while this is running, we're going to want to open this setting INI folder or file and scroll down. Sorry, let me bring that file up as well. Okay, and we're going to want to scroll down until we see BU's object array cache. This is going to be true by default. You want to change this to false. And we want to scroll down a little further until we see here graphics API. This by default will be OpenGL. You're going to want to just change that to DX11. Once that's done, we're going to go back to the Palworld folder and again go into Pal, this time Content and Packs. And you may or may not already have a Logic Mods folder here. If you do not have one, just create it and we should be good to go. If you do, drill down into it. And within that second file, the second zip file we found, we're just going to want to extract this, palivs.pack. Once that's done, all you need to do is restart your game, and we should be good to go with the add-on. Well guys, that was everything I wanted to cover for today. If you learned something new or if you just liked the video, please consider subscribing to the channel and we'll bring you way more tip videos like this. Thanks.